Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have a wonderful guest in studio with us today, especially if you're thinking about a wedding coming up soon. Her name is Carol Saka, and she's the owner of Ocie Florals. And you are the owner, operator, chief designer, head janitor, all of it.
Everything.
Everything.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you do. You're not your typical storefront florist.
No, we do events only, being weddings pretty much 90% of our business. By specializing, we offer things like knowing the trends, things like that, that are a little bit different than a normal flower shop.
What do you like about doing a wedding, Carol? What makes you, you light up, we were talking, and I know you love your brides.
I do. I think my favorite part of the whole operation is getting to know the bride, and kind of storming ideas and coming up with something that fits her perfectly. I think that's my favorite part of it.
Well, it's a very stressful time for that bride too. So
yes.
And you're the flower piece of it, and you're kind of, what everybody sees and everybody comments on. Mm-hmm. So how do you keep yourself calm and her calm?
Well, I don't know if I keep myself calm, but on the outside, I look very calm. In fact, it's one of the things my bride will say the day of. She'll be like this, and I'll just enter the room, and literally she says, "Carol, you've just calmed me down by being here." So whatever I do, it helps my brides.
Now you have a nice background, I think, for what you do. That you have a botany background.
Yes.
And what does that help you do? I mean, why does that add to it? I mean, not every florist has a botany background.
Well, I think because when I was going to college, since I was a little kid, I've loved flowers. So it was just natural that I would go into that. But the other aspect of who I am is very artistic. And it almost kind of blends nicely. So it was just a perfect fit. So that's why.
Now, Carol, one of the things I think is really challenging for you is that you're working with live plants and flowers. It's not like you're bringing the cake, you're bringing the flowers. So how does that work? How do you handle them?
You have to know the personalities.
You're talking to them?
I talk. I work with them. Sometimes I fight with them. They can be wanting to go this way, and I need them to go that way. Many times I'll have to do a bouquet twice, up to 4 times, 5 times, because they just will not bend to what I want them to do. That's the beauty of live flowers, though. It's not just taking a silk flower and bending it to what you want to do. You actually have to work with it. It's kind of ikebani, that's a Japanese flower, and you have to study a flower to make it show the best it can. That's the artistry of it.
Well, that's neat. And not only do you have the live flower to contend with, but the bride and everybody has the weather, because so many of these weddings these days are outside.
A lot of them are.
So how do you cope with the weather and transporting, and when they're there's limited time for these guys?
In the industry, it's you always have to have plan B. And this is one of the things I stress with my brides, because they really and truly do focus on what they want. And sometimes that just doesn't work out. And I have to make them work with plan B. In fact, psychologically, it's kind of making them understand that they might have to deal with plan B. And they're usually a lot easier about it when they know they have a plan B. And nowadays venues, they have a time amount of where you can change your mind. For a long time it was like in, out, until like 5 minutes before the ceremony. But we can't do that because there's so much has to be switched. So there's usually like an hour that a bride has to change her mind. And then it's over.
It doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it's more time than they used to have.
Yeah.
Now, you also keep up on current trends in weddings and events. What's out there? What's happening now, Carol?
Something that I truly love is the rustic feel. Barns, farmhouses, fields. It's more outdoor, kind of natural. And the brides have really, really clung to this vintage. So they're gathering different types of containers. Mason jar is really big, still big. It's been big for about 2 or 3 years now.
And what kind of, so you're using a mason jar for a vase or something like that. What kind of flowers you might be putting in there? Are you using a traditional rose anymore or no?
Roses will always be.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Wildflower look.
Okay.
Not that I'm out there picking
I was
wildflowers,
going to say.
but there are flowers that have a wildflower look. Baby's Breath, believe it or not, has come back with a different look to it.
Okay.
There's Monte Cassino that literally does grow in the fields, so we use a lot of that. But we have a bride who, even though she's using the mason jars or a wooden box, she still wants that elegance. And roses, they have garden roses that are just absolutely exquisite. Peonies are very, very popular, but they have a time element to them, but we still have them.
Now, I think I would imagine just much like the elegant bride against a rustic background, that beautiful rose against a more rustic background would really show. Now, weddings are a huge part of what you do, but you do events, and I would imagine you bring the same type of love for that event as you do for your weddings.
Yes, definitely. Last year, we did quite a bit of graduation parties. So, you have to know the school, you have to know, get the balloons, it's much more loose. But it still has that anxiety because usually you're having to rent a tent and the tables and all that good stuff too.
What is it, in your opinion, Carol, what is it about a live flower arrangement that just makes, whether it be a wedding or event or anything, just a little bit more special? What does that element bring to that event, to that memory?
I think of my bride when I make them. I put a little bit of her in it. Sometimes brides will have a parent that's not going to be there, and I try and put that part of her in the bouquet. I know this sounds really corny, but it's true.
No, I think it doesn't sound corny at all, Carol. I can just tell your warmth and that you just really love what you do.
Yeah, I do.
And you're calming too, so I can see why that works for the brides. Carol, thanks for stopping by and telling us all about what you do and why you do it so well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're going to be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.